Usually, when people start to learn the patterns of conversational hypnosis and influence, there's ethical and moral concerns. Usually, but not always. Some people, when they realize how incredibly powerful these patterns of hypnosis are, these patterns of covert persuasion are, they go crazy without concern for any ethical or moral standards. They start selling everything to everybody. They start to make twice as much money without being concerned with whether or not they're actually selling things to people that they actually want. Or they go crazy and start to seduce all kinds of girls. They start to have sex with all kinds of girls without being concerned with whether or not they're leaving them in a better place or not. But for most people, they don't do this. Most people, when they realize how incredibly powerful these patterns are, they start to consider the moral and ethical concerns. When they discover things like blurred realities and nested loops and the quotes patterns and how you can combine linguistic presuppositions with Cialdini influence factors, they realize that these are amoral tools. They're very, very powerful, but they are amoral. You can use them for good or you can use them for not so good. Which is why you always need, when using these patterns, to keep a handle on your own internal moral guidelines, your own internal ethical guidelines. But there is a small branch of persuasion, a small type of persuasion where you don't need to concern yourself with moral or ethical concerns whatsoever, because when you use hypnotic language patterns, you're taking ideas from your head of what you think they should do, and you're using hypnosis to put them inside their head in a very, very intriguing way, a very, very attractive way. And so you can conceivably get them to do things that aren't necessarily in their best interest. If you don't take the time to find out what is in their best interest and you just put ideas in there using a lot of hypnotic technology, they'll go off and do what you want. But this other technique, you don't do that. You don't put any ideas in their head. All you do is use the ideas that are already inside someone's head, and they can convince themselves using those ideas to do whatever you want. Now, this requires that you turn off your ego completely. You turn off the desire, the instinctive desire, the very powerful ancient desire to take your ideas and put them inside their head. Just keep that turned off and elicit the ideas from their head, and only the ideas from their head. This works very, very powerfully for a couple of ways, because of a couple of ways. One of the reasons is that very rarely do any of us get to talk about your desires that doesn't invite any reciprocal pushback from the other person. Because most people, when they talk, it's my idea, my idea, my idea, my idea. But so when we talk about our desires, it's almost always an invitation for the other person to talk about their desires. But when you deliberately turn off your ego, when you deliberately keep your ideas to yourself, when you deliberately keep your opinions to yourself and simply expand out the desire map of the other person, the internal representation they have of what they want, and get that as detailed and specific and robust and as powerful as possible, they will feel incredibly well. They will feel incredibly good in a way they haven't felt before. And they will start to see the world through this kind of desire map, a desire bubble, a custom-built desire halo effect. And desire is very, very translatable. That's how marketing works. They show us a sexy woman, they show us a car, we subconsciously attach the desire for the woman to the car. So when people are looking out into the world through this massively robust, massively detailed desire map that you've helped them build from inside their own head without using any of your ideas, they will see the world through this very, very attractive desire map, and everything in the world, including you and whatever ideas you toss out there, will seem much more compelling. This will happen automatically and subconsciously. But the second reason this works so well without needing to worry about any ethical or moral concerns is you tilt both sides of the scale. The first half of the scale is the desire map. And whenever we do something, we do it based on the costs and the benefits. If the benefits are higher than the costs, we'll take action. It's a no-brainer. This is true whether it's a conscious decision or an unconscious decision when you're tossing and turning in bed every night. If the benefits are higher than the cost, we will take action. If the benefits are not higher than the cost, if the costs are higher than the benefits, we won't take action. So by eliciting and expanding their desire map, using only the ideas inside their head, you're making the benefits seem extremely powerful. But then you switch to the next half, the next phase, where you elicit their decision map, where you ask them about the best decisions they've ever made, and you put them in the headspace of making a good decision, of becoming incredibly successful, of choosing to do the things that benefit them most. This will make them feel incredibly confident and competent about their future, which means any costs associated with your suggestions will seem small by comparison. The more confident they feel, the less the costs will seem, because they will be so confident in their future to pay whatever costs they need to pay to get whatever they want to get. And so you'll be tilting both halves of the scale, both sides of the scale. The desire side will be way up here. The cost side will be way down here, or the benefits will be way up here, and the cost will be way down here. And the difference is huge, which means they will take action in a very no-brainer way. But just to make sure you don't have to worry about morals or ethics, you toss out a suggestion, and they will see that suggestion through their desire map, and they will say, oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. Then you get them to qualify themselves about why they should take that action. You throw out a suggestion, they said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And you can say something like, how do you know that's a good idea? And they will tell you why. And they will justify why it's their decision to do that thing. So even if the decision doesn't work out, even if it doesn't work out as much as they'd hoped, if they see you 6 months later, a year later, they will still have a very, very fond memory, because you will help them create this wonderful feeling of huge benefits without any cost. And this will give them a wonderful feeling, and they will own the decision. They will justify why it's their decision, and they will remember it as their decision, so you don't have to worry about crossing any moral or ethical boundaries, so long as you keep your ideas to yourself, so long as you keep your ego to yourself and use the ideas from their brain to build out their desire map, and then use only the ideas in their brain to build out their decision map, and toss out a suggestion and then get them to justify that suggestion to you. That way you have nothing to worry about. You can play around with this process with your friends. It's a lot of fun. Try it. See how well it works. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about how to persuade people, about how to influence people, check out the links below. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time.